Let's get started with her analysis on floor. Her most common mount was a double-double or a tuck double back flip with 2 twists. Chun was known for her elegance and incredible form in the air in her tumbling. Here's a side-by-side with Olympic champion Jade Carey. They both have similar timing and setup in their double-double, with good arm reach initiating their flips and twist. After one flip, they look almost identical, with legs tight together and both in clean tuck positions. Jade lands slightly higher, but they both square off very well and land comfortably. Very nice. Chun Fei's next tumbling pass is a round-off back handspring layout full in, back pike out. Very clean. This is a side-by-side with Hungarian Olympic champion Henrietta Anodi. They both have incredibly tight form in the round-off back handspring and general tumbling. Even in the air, her toe point stands out to me. She has a slight leg separation as she finishes her first flip, but quickly gets them together for a very squared-off, clean landing. She lands a bit higher than Henrietta, but they both have very controlled landings. Her next pass is a round-off whip back into a triple fold, or a back layout with 3 twists, done uniquely clean. She does not touch her hands on the floor here, and that's what makes this very difficult. A whip back is like a very high, long back handspring without touching your hands. This makes the triple fold more difficult because it's harder to feel how high or low you are above the floor before punching into your triple fold. She does this so elegant and clean, squaring off her triple twist very easily. Well done. She's just so clean in the air, and her leg form and toe point stand out to me. With her legs and feet glued together, she would often dismount with a round-off back handspring, 2.5 twisting back layout with her trademark excellent form. She would also do a 2.5 twisting back layout to a punch layout front as well. I use this side by side with Hesley Rivera because I believe they both have uniquely tight and clean form in the air on this skill. Chun Fei squares off a bit more than Hesley with their legs tight together, but they both have very clean and controlled landings. That's exactly how you want this skill to look. Very nice. It seemed no matter what tumbling pass that she would perform, she always had eye-catching execution, clean form, and beautiful toe point. These small things add greatly to the overall impression of a floor routine. Another one of her common dismounts was a pike double back. We see a very distinct set, and even here we can see very nice toe point. She strikes an ideal pike position throughout and flexes her feet a bit early in preparation for a landing. Very nice with good control. Here she shows nice flexibility and balance in this kick with a stylish flexed foot and opens out elegantly with pointed toes, something a little different. She was also a very fast pirouetter and maintained consistent balance in her triple turns, both elegant and dynamic. Look at that fantastic oversplit in this leap with her head thrown so far back you can't even see it. Really nice. Here's another split leap, again done with noticeable and elegant oversplit. She had really beautiful dance and transitions on floor. In the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Chun Fei was the team captain of the Chinese team, and the Chinese team went on to win their first ever gold medal at the Olympics. Although her legacy was largely recognized for creating her Chun vault, I believe her influence on her fellow teammates contributed greatly to the Chinese team's success. She's inspired many other young gymnasts in China and all around the world, and she did some of the cleanest and most beautiful tumbling ever done. Sabrina Vonia from Romania. She starts out with a very clean and high tuck double-double or a double back with 2 twists. This is a side-by-side with one of her past competitions. I use this example to show how consistent she was with this skill. Here's a really good arm set as she initiates her twist while setting her chest up to increase her flip rotation. She finishes her full twist slightly before she finishes her first flip rotation and has plenty of height for the second flip and twist. Her body is fairly open, but because of her height and good set on takeoff, she completes this double-double very easily and with a strong landing. The commentators reviewed this and said she was in bounds here. Her second pass is what she's more recognized for and is very rare and difficult. It's a round-off back handspring double layout or 2 flips with a straight body immediately into a tucked punch front. In Paris, she had a larger leg separation on her takeoff. They stay slightly separated throughout the double layout, but remember, this is slow motion also. Here she spots the ground and quickly prepares to punch into her tucked front flip. Look at that block angle and the pressure on her ankles and Achilles tendons. It's very deep here, and she obviously has very strong calves and legs to power through this combination. You have to punch the floor at exactly the correct time to get the proper spring for the front flip. Really nice. Here's a side-by-side with her mom, Camila Vonia, who was on the 1988 Olympic team for Romania and did this very same pass back then. Really cool. She had really nice extension and flexibility in her split leap. She also had nice flexibility in her center split leap. Her next pass was a tucked full in, or a double back with a full twist to a very controlled landing. She reaches to the side slightly more than average, but has a strong set to initiate her twist and flip rotation. She keeps her knees together very well throughout this full in and lands very high and comfortably. In my view, the weakest part of her routine is her dismount. It's only a tuck double back, and at the Olympic level, it's not very difficult. She does it very clean and high and has a very secure landing, but it's not up to the difficulty of the rest of her routine. I imagine she can do more difficult dismounts, but the tuck double back is probably very consistent for her. Her second pass was her most difficult and original pass, and this helped separate her from the other gymnasts. She hit a very solid routine and had an elegant look throughout her routine. Again, it was said she was penalized 1/10 for going out of bounds, but in review, it appeared she never went out of bounds. Romania tried to protest, but was denied. I'm not aware of the reason they were denied. Maybe when the dust settles, there'll be more information that helps me understand the many mistakes that were made in the ranking of the 2024 Women's Floor Final. Let's get started with the analysis. Diane was very comfortable and natural at doing her Arabian tuck double front, which is a jump half turn to a double front essentially. She eventually did this skill in the pike position in an international competition, and it was named after her, the Dos Santos, which is a piked Arabian double front. This became one of the big skills of that time, and other athletes, like Ali Raceman, as we see here, started to perform the skill as well. Diane actually did this skill very easily and eventually went on to create the Dos Santos 2, which is a laid out Arabian double front. Let's take a closer look. She has a strong set and drives her heels well until striking a more hollowed laid out body position. She's a bit more piked or hollowed than you want to be for a layout skill, but they did give her laid out credit for the Dos Santos too. She was pretty consistent at landing the skill comfortably. These days, the athletes that train this skill use a much stronger heel drive technique to ensure the layout position. The contrast is really an arched layout position compared with a hollow straight body position. It's been performed by a few male gymnasts as well, like Jake Dalton, who uses the strong arch heel drive technique throughout his layout Arabian double front. As far as I could find, Diane is the only female gymnast to compete the laid out Arabian double front or the Dos Santos 2 in competition. Simone Biles also does a double layout with a half turn, but the half turn is done very late on the second flip. That's why they call it a Biles. The techniques are very different from each other. Diane's next skill is a laid out full in back out, or a double layout with a full twist with a twist on the first flip. In this side by side with Rebecca Andrade, we can see two different techniques for this skill. Rebecca does her full twist within her double layout, and it's really more like a double layout full out technique. Diane completes her full twist within the first flip of this double layout, which makes it a laid out full in. They both have the same value and they're done very well. Diane also does a very clean and solid double layout. We can see her legs are glued together and she lands very high. In this side by side with Rebecca, we can see a very similar technique with her arms down at her side and very clean form throughout, both landing very high, although Rebecca's landing gets away from her a bit. Every country has their own culture of style, and Diane and Rebecca seem to share in their high energy Brazilian approach to their choreography and their floor style. Both show very nice height and flexibility in their split leaps and partial turns before landing. Here's a traditional double turn, a horizontal leg double turn with her hands down by her side, and a horizontal leg turn with her arms above her head. On this jump tuck double turn, she has a sneaky technique here. She starts squared off, but before her feet leave the ground, she's almost halfway turned already. Then she does essentially a 1.5 turn with a tuck and lands squared off from her starting point. In fast motion, it's very difficult to see this. She uses her quick twitch movement to gain height in her jumps, leaps, and turns. Her most common dismount was a front pike into a round off back handspring double pike, done very clean and comfortably. This was very consistent for her. In this side by side with Rebecca, we can see they both have very similar pike position and clean form in their double pike. Well done. Diane Dos Santos was a member of the 2004 and 2008 Brazilian Olympic teams. In 2004 in the floor finals, she went out of bounds twice, and that took her out of medal contention. In 2008, she wasn't fully recovered from an injury. Diane was defined by her energy, quick twitch movement, and excellent tumbling skills. Although Diane never earned an Olympic medal, she did become the 2003 world champion on the floor exercise. She also introduced 2 new skills that were named after her on the floor exercise, and she inspired many other young gymnasts like Rebecca Andrade. These are the characteristics that make up the legacy of Diane Dos Santos. Now let's take a look at Anna. She mounts with a round-off whip back into a tucked full in with a very controlled landing. It's hard to see with this angle on the left, but she's not touching her hands on the floor in this whip back, and this increases the difficulty of this pass. Her legs are a bit separated here, but she lands very high with good control on this very difficult pass. Her next pass is a round-off back handspring, 2.5 twisting back layout, immediately punching into a layout front full. She's got her legs very tight together with a little feet crossing here. She squares off very well as she sets up for her layout full twisting front. Her 2.5 twisting layout back is a bit over rotated, and this makes her front full travel forward more, and she has to step out of bounds here. Here's her tourjete with a full turn. I showed the comparison earlier in this video. Very nice. Same here with her wolf turn, very solid with no apparent balance loss. Both Anna and Jordan, in their individual ways, are very clean and elegant with their gymnastics. Her next pass is a double tuck back to an immediate punch front. Again, this is a very rare skill. You don't see that often in women's gymnastics. It's not as difficult as Sabrina's double layout punch front, but still, it takes a strong punch, good timing, and proper technique to complete this skill well. Anna does this pass with excellent form and a very nice landing. Well done. Alice D'Amato from Italy. Let's get started with the analysis. She does a nice combination of a round off, 2 whip backs into a back handspring triple full or a back layout with 3 twists. She gets her twists around very comfortably with a small hop. She does have her legs slightly crossed, but nice job on this very difficult combination pass. Here's a deep block angle to stall her flip rotation, and this allows her to complete her 3 twists without over-rotating. When the legs get crossed up, it slows the twist and makes it more challenging to complete the twist before the flip is complete. This often leads to flip over-rotation. This is one of the cleanest triple fulls I've seen her do. She also mounted with a more difficult tuck double-double or a tuck double backflip with 2 twists. Very clean. She does go out of bounds or very close to the line on this skill, but her legs are tight together in a very nice tuck position, showing very nice technique. For a front tumbling pass, she does a front handspring double twisting layout front. She actually does this skill very easily and squares off her twist consistently with a very controlled landing. She has many tumbling passes to choose from, and a double layout is one of them. Her legs are pretty close together. I would prefer that her arms are more behind her at this point. This would help her chest rise into the second flip and increase her flip rotation speed. She lands this double layout very comfortably. Here's the very trendy double wolf turn done very comfortably. Alice's choreography and floor construction are unique, and she has her own style that set her apart from the other athletes, and also shows very nice flexibility in her split leaps. Here's a nice oversplit. She's very consistent to have a flat split or slight oversplit in most of her leap combinations. Her toe point also stands out to me, and her legs are extended to an almost hyperextended straightness. This adds to the aesthetics of all her leap work and choreography. Here's some more of her unique style in choreography. Alice chooses choreography that shows her strength, like her flexibility and grace in her leaps and choreography. This combines with the fact that she has many solid tumbling passes to choose from. She's consistent and shows nice control in her turns with very nice flexibility. Here's a nice triple turn with her leg held vertical, done solid with flexibility and control. As with many other gymnasts, she does struggle with controlling her landing sometimes, and this is where I believe she gives much of her deductions away. The floors are pretty springy these days, and I see many girls struggle to control their landings. She's a very strong twister and has nice combinations. I look forward to see what new combinations she may put together in the future. As always, thanks for checking out my analysis. With the analysis on floor. Her most common mount was a very difficult laid out double-double or a laid out double backflip with 2 twists. She did this very well, and she was very consistent on controlling her landing. Here's a side-by-side with Olympic gold medalist Jade Carey. Jade throws her chest into the twist more than Skinner, but you can't see where the momentum is, and Skinner has set her arms up very strong here. They look almost identical mid-skill. Michaela has her head out a bit more, but she keeps a strong hollow position with her chest still driving her flip around. Michaela has to pike down a bit early to finish her flip rotation. The reason for this is how they set up in their throw at the beginning of the skill. This position right here is the difference in why Jade rotates faster than Michaela. Still, they both do the skill incredibly well. Her next pass is a tuck double-double, or the same as her mount but in the tucked position. Again, in this side-by-side with Jade Carey, they both have strong arm set, with Michaela setting around the side a bit more than Jade. They both do a good job staying in a very tight tuck position with very clean form. The tighter tuck they have, the easier it is to rotate the body around, but it also makes twisting much more difficult. That's part of the challenge in this skill. They both have very squared up landings. I just like this trick, so I put it in. It looks fun. Here's her wolf turn. A double wolf turn was normal for her. She shows a pretty nice split position in this tourjete with a full twist. She does a nice full turn out of this split leap. Her next pass is a tucked full in or a tucked full twisting double back. This is a side-by-side with herself. She has a nice deep block angle to gain height. This is a bit unique to have her arms so far behind her, but her chest is still lifting into her flip rotation, so she really doesn't have to grab her knees that tightly. Nicely done. Here's a tuck front step out to a round off back handspring, 2.5 twisting back layout. In this side-by-side with Hesley Rivera, we can see that Michaela starts her twist a bit early into the side. This results in Michaela not flying as high, but she will rotate her flip and twist a bit faster than Hesley. We see here that Michaela has a bit more flip rotation than Hesley. The challenge in single flips with multiple twists is to balance the flip and twist rotation together so you can land the skill upright. Both nicely done. Sometimes Michaela would dismount with a triple full or a back layout with 3 twists. This also looks very comfortable for her. Here's a side-by-side with Alicia Sacramone. They both have deep block angles to stall the speed of their flip rotation and go higher. I would say on this one that Alicia is higher than Michaela, but Michaela has a bit tighter form in the air. Michaela is a micro twist shy of a triple full, but in normal motion, it appears to be a completed smooth triple full. Let's take a quick overview of her tumbling. She mounted with a piked Arabian double front, also called a desantos, and does it very high and very easily. Here's a side-by-side with Ali Raisman. They both have strong sets and fast turns into their Arabian. Ali has a slight leg separation here, and Chelsea is in a bit of a tighter tuck position. Look how high they both land their piked Arabian doubles. It's a blind landing, so the extra height helps them navigate and control their landings. Here's a side-by-side with Shalise Jones doing a double layout. They both rotate fast, high, and with clean form. Chelsea sets her chest up a little higher than Shalise, where Shalise leans back a bit more in her takeoff. They both have their chests rise in the second flip, and they keep their arms to their side, which helps with flip rotation. Nice form into a nice controlled landing. This double turn with leg held up is named after Chelsea, called the Memel, as she was the first one to perform this in international competition. Really well done. Here's her 2.5 twisting back layout punch to an immediate layout front with a controlled landing. Now we take a look at a side-by-side with Alicia Sacramone. Chelsea has very tight form with her legs glued together, where Alicia has her feet crossed a bit. They both land pretty squared off. Chelsea is a bit looser with her legs in her layout front, but they both land very controlled. I really like this illusion into a nice flowing transition pass. It's just fun to watch. Her dismount was traditionally a very tight piked double back done with very nice control. Look how deep she gets into her pike position. This looks very nice, and it also allows her to rotate faster to set up for her landing. I want to end this analysis by showing you her landing in the double twisting Yurchenko. It's in her enthusiastic and authentic response to completing this vault successfully that made me more of a fan for Chelsea. To me, it says she loves taking on a challenge and thrives on the success of completing the challenge. As always, I hope you enjoyed my analysis and got some value from it. Always feel free to like and subscribe if you'd like to be notified each time I release videos like this. Also, leave any thoughts you might have in the comments. Until next time, all my best and rock on!